this is Frank Wang, and I am recording a few videos for my personal Chinese lesson, and of course here I'm talking about Mandarin Chinese, and if you're interested, you are very welcome to follow me, and I try my best to make it clear, and we will work on Mandarin together. So, this is the very first lesson, and I'm going to be posting it on YouTube, so I hope that everyone likes my lesson and gives me lots of comments. And if I'm going to continue with this project or not, basically depends on if you want me to or not. And so, in this first lesson, we are going to talk about the most important thing, and that's why I'm talking about it in the very first video, that is tones. Okay, so I don't think it's a surprise that if you're interested in learning Mandarin, you should already know something about tones, or you already know that you have to deal with tones. It's not a terrible thing. That's what makes it a very cool language and very different language from English for sure. And tone is really the base, okay? So if you do not have that, you cannot continue, okay? And, well, technically you can continue. I can't stop you from that, but you're probably not going to pronounce Mandarin very correctly, or you're not going to be, you're not going to have a very good accent, sorry. So, in Standard Mandarin, we consider that we have 4 tones, okay? So actually we have 5. Well, the 5th one is more of a relaxed tone or a resting tone, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit after. And so the 4 tones actually form the base of the phonetic part, or actually it's fundamental because it's so important to phonetics in Mandarin Chinese. And yeah, so before the introduction, or before the explanation of what each of the 4 tones actually means, I'm going to introduce the pinging system first, and I just want you to be familiar, or I don't know, I just wanted to know at least that pinging means the romanization, or the standard romanization system of Chinese, which means which kind of helps because it rewrites the Chinese language in Latin alphabet. However, I personally do not like romanization that much, because if you want to be good at Chinese, you have to be able to read one day, right? I mean, if your goal is to be able to communicate in Chinese with no obstacle at all. And so the ping system can actually help you pronounce at first, that's for sure. And gradually we're going to use characters, and I try my best to make, or I try my best to teach you the characters as clearly as possible. But for now, we have to deal with romanization, or the ping system, because characters are not very easy to learn. It's not, I don't know, it's not Korean, for example, where in which you have Hangul, which is probably a lot easier to learn than Chinese characters, well, for sure, right? And so we are talking about pinging, and so whatever I try to show you here will be written in pinging system, and if it's not clear, I am going to put the Standard International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA, here as well, so so we're all sure of what we are talking about. And so basically the goal of this first video is to make sure that you know how to distinguish, and you know how to produce the 4 tones, which means that it has to be almost instinctive. By that I mean it has to come to you immediately that if there is, for example, letter A here, and I tell you it's pinging, so you have to come up with the four tones, four versions of okay, immediately. Okay, so if I show you something, for example, ma here, and if you tell me that this is pronounced ma by the end of this video, then it's not very positive, because what I want, what I expect is ma 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 ma, or the four versions of it. So it's really inside us, or it has to be instinctive if you want to be good at Mandarin, to be able to just produce the four tones like that. Okay, so yeah, so okay, so let's start with the each of the four tones, and so the first tone, okay, written in pinyin like that, was was a bar, okay, on top of the ah. Okay, today we're going to use ah only because it's the easiest vowel, and it's the first vowel, I guess, in Chinese too, and so so as you can see, there is a bar on top of the ah, and that indicates the first tone, or the flat tone, or the high tone, basically. Okay, it is a kind of level tone. It's not. It doesn't have any contour. It doesn't have any. You see? So it's very flat. It's ah, and it's a high ah. Okay, so something very important is that um, that tone is actually another. You can consider it as another word for um, the height of your I mean your voice. Not really the height, but it's just a term. And for example, if you sing a song, and pardon my terrible voice, but if you sing a song, for example, let's sing the ah sound. Okay, you start from the lowest you can, and you go till the top. Okay, so and you sing like, let's say, 5 degrees. Okay, so you're gonna have ah right? So you go from the ah to the ah, and then so we're gonna note each of the 5 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So so 1 being the lowest. So is 1 and is 5. Okay. So your tone number 1, okay, should have a value of 5 5, which means okay, it has to be 5. Sorry, it has to be high up there. Okay. So that is okay. It actually doesn't really require not a lot of energy to learn this, because it's pretty clear and doesn't have any, as I said, doesn't have any contour, so it's not. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that's basically the first tone. Okay, so the second tone is actually ah. Okay, it is a rising tone. Okay, that is a little bit hard to pronounce. I guess it starts to get hard because it actually has a change. Okay, inside the same unit. Okay, so ah, and it has a value of 3 5. Okay, so remember so you're starting from to so so you're actually rising, so you're actually going up okay. So I actually consider it a very good way to move your head when you're pronouncing it. Okay, so do not hesitate to do that. It might seem a little bit weird, and but it's very useful, and it's a very important psychological hint, I guess. It helps you raise your tone. I mean, okay, so okay, if you move your head okay, do not forget that a little bit of exaggeration is actually a good thing. Okay, so okay, so you go from 3 to 5, right? Okay, so okay, we're okay with that for now, I hope. And yeah, so in pinyin we just note a with a diacritic, where the bar actually goes up because you start low and you end up high. So okay, and then the third tone is ah. Okay, now that is the trickiest tone, and it's very troublesome because it actually actually have to fall first and then go up. Okay, so it's ah, and it has a tone value of 214. Okay, a tone value of 214. Okay, remember again, So actually start pretty low. Okay, so 2, and then you have to go down first. Okay, so you have to go to the lowest already, and then you go up to 4. Okay, not as high up there as tone number 1, but it's still pretty high. Okay, ah, okay, okay, move your head, okay, okay. So the symbol for that is a with a um, diacritic that goes down first and go up. Okay, um, so it's actually a very good representation of what you actually have to pronounce in terms of tones. Okay, so you have to go down first and go up. Okay, ah. Okay, except that you don't really do 4 on 4. Let's say you have to do 2 on 4, so it's a little bit should be a little bit shorter on the left side. But I don't know, but it's ah. Okay, ah. Okay, ah. Okay, so ah. All right, and then the last tone is the falling tone. Okay, and it is I guess quite hard to pronounce too because I've actually seen a lot of people um, who have difficulty with the tone number 4. I don't know why. They don't have any problem with the rising tone, but they have some problem with the falling tone. But anyways, so it's ah. Okay, so it's pronounced ah, and it's written like so it's written with an ah and a falling bar on top. Okay, so ah. Okay, so actually going down. Ah. Okay, ah. And it has a tone value of 5-1. Okay, it should technically have a tone value of 5-1, and it's pronounced ah. Okay, ah. Okay, so you're very high. Ah. Okay, so you go down. Ah. Okay, until the bottom. Okay, so ah. Okay, ah. Okay, let's do it slowly. Ah. Okay, and then if you want to do it fast, ah. Okay, so as you can see, it's a little bit more deductive, I guess. It's a little bit more as if you were chopping something. Ah, ah. Okay, um, so it's as you can see, it's very different from ah. Okay, it's ah. Okay, you start at the same value. Okay, start with 5, and then for level tone, the first tone you actually stay ah. Okay, ah. Okay, and for the last tone you have to go down ah. Okay, so again, your movement. I mean, if you move your head, it's going to help you. Ah. Okay, so let's move our head together. Ah. Okay, ah. Ah. And ah. Okay, so that is how to this. So that yeah. So these are the 4 tones in Mandarin Chinese, and congratulations. Now you should be able to distinguish and acoustically, I hope. And now you have to practice and make sure that you can clearly make sure that that your distinct, I mean your 4 tones can be distinguished clearly, or can be recognized by a Chinese speaker. Okay, so so we talked about the 4 ahs, and actually one thing that uh, that I want to show you is that because when I was, it's actually an anecdote. Anyways, when I was talking to one of my friends about Mandarin, he was asking me, well, can do you really have the distinction, or do you really make the difference, or is it just you're just trying to be cool? Okay, so does that, if I pronounce for everything, does that really make such a big difference? And I can tell you, it does make a very well, at least you're not going to be understood for sure. Okay, if you cannot distinguish any of the four tones, and if you just go like all the time, it's not something very positive. And actually, he was asking me if I could give him a scientific proof of the four tones. So, what is actually the scientific difference between, let's say, and ah? Okay, and he just simply does not um, distinguish, or he cannot tell me the difference by simply hearing, okay, or by simply listening to the four tones. So I actually made spectrograms here, okay, as you can see for ah, okay, here is the ah, okay, as you can see where the my melody is, my curve is, okay, ah, okay, and then ah, okay, you can see very, very clearly now I'm going up, okay, in terms of my hertz, or in terms of my frequency, okay, so ah, okay, okay, it's going down, I have to go down first, and I have to go quite up there, and then it's okay, I'm dropping, okay, see, okay, so so I guess the spectrogram is enough of a proof that the four tones actually exist, and so if you are interested, you can also use spectrograms to help yourself and to rectify and to correct yourself in terms of pronunciation. You can compare your spectrogram to mine, okay, just to see if you are pronouncing the tones correctly or not, okay. So, as I said at the beginning of this video, the whole point of this first lesson is to make sure that you are able to distinguish and pronounce, okay, for sure. And you have to go from slow to okay. Has to be instinctive again, okay. So if I have na here, na, okay, okay. It doesn't. You don't have to use a Chinese word, okay, because we're not there yet, okay. So you can use a even English word. For example, I have a pen here, and then from now on, you're not going to pronounce pen anymore. You're going to go pen, okay. My toe, toe. Okay, it works for everything, right? So go for the easy ones for sure, and after that you can go for the pen, or you can make your own combinations, and for sure you have to be able to tell yourself at least if you're using tone number 1, tone number 4, tone number 2, tone number 3, tone number 4. Okay, so yeah, so one more thing before the end of this lesson. I actually talked about a fifth tone in Chinese, and I said that it's not really a tone because it's more about how should I phrase it? It's more about how you pronounce. It's a way to save energy, I guess, if that's the correct term. So, for example, in Chinese, the word mother actually is actually ma. Okay, so if you write it in Chinese, okay, ma technically, okay, but nobody, okay, says ma because it even sounds a little bit slow and I mean a little bit weird. Okay, so everyone would pronounce it as ma. Okay, you hear the ma. Okay, it's not ma. Okay, it's just ma. Okay, it's almost like ma. It's almost like you know a sort of like a firework, or mama. Okay, so that is uh, that is you would normally see that at the end of a word or a sentence, but we are going to talk about that later. And actually, it's more or less about a change of tones. Okay, don't worry about that, because normally, okay, I have to tell you this, because normally a Chinese character has one pronunciation. Normally, okay, normally. Well, there are some exceptions. Normally, a Chinese character has one pronunciation, which means one tone. Okay, um, and however, if you pronounce words in a sentence, okay, sometimes the tones can change. Okay, why? Okay, the reason is actually very simple. Okay, think about it. Sorry, ah. Okay, do you recognize that, or do you realize that the is actually can actually get a little bit longer? Okay, and for example, okay, can end up very low. For example, you have all those kind of problems, right? And when you have to pronounce two words together, okay, sometimes it doesn't really help. Okay, for example, okay, um, let's take the most useful expression, and so I'm just going to teach this to you because you have to use it anyways, which is hi or hello. And I guess most of you sure already know how to pronounce it. Okay, 你好. Okay, so character and pinyin here. 你好, right? So technically, both words have the third tone. Okay, so 你好. Okay. However, when we talk, okay, when I say hi to someone, I would say 你好. Okay, I wouldn't really pronounce it like 你好. Okay, so it's not because I'm lazy, but because it actually makes a lot of sense to um, change my first 你, okay, from tone number 3 to tone number 2, okay, to a second tone or to the rising tone, because it's just simply a lot easier to pronounce 你好. Okay, then 你好, right? So 你好, okay, 你好, okay, and 你好, okay, means hello. Okay, so retain that. And all right, so that is pretty much it for my first lesson. And if you have any question, you can always ask me. And also, if you want a recording of my or if you want to have a copy of my spectrogram up there, you can always send me an email, or you can leave me a comment or a message or whatever. Okay, and my email is right here. And yeah, so I hope this is very clear. And as I said, really do okay, every day. Okay, whenever you're free, just do okay, ta, ba 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 ba. Okay, you can. It can be whatever. It doesn't matter what the consonant and the vowel are, but you just have to use and apply the four tones and get used to them. And yeah, so that is really the base. And in the next video, I'm going to be talking about simple consonants and vowels, okay, in Chinese. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna keep going with our phonetic part. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And before I say goodbye, I have a little exercise. As always, hello everyone, it's me again, and welcome to the exercise section. And congratulations, you finally finished the first lesson, and I hope you understood the concept of four tones in Mandarin Chinese. And what I propose an exercise for this first lesson, okay, it shouldn't be very hard, and I mean, is that you have to listen to the following sounds or following segments, and then you have to tell me if it is a a first tone or second tone, a third tone or a fourth tone, I remind you that first tone is ah, second tone ah, okay, rising, third tone ah, okay, fourth tone ah, okay, falling tone ah. All right, so good luck, and you will see the answers. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the answers. Don't worry about that. Ha, na, sa, 好，闹，标，壮，抢。